The palace of the alien empire stood like a mountain of gold and crystal, shining under the three moons. It was a place of power, fear, and silence. Behind those walls, no one dared to speak against the alien king. His word was law, his anger was death. But inside one secret chamber, hidden by curtains of silver light, something dangerous was happening. The alien princess, daughter of the king, lay weak on a bed made of glass. Her skin glowed like emerald. Her silver hair fell over her shoulders. Around her, the royal healers whispered in fear. The princess was giving birth, but the child was not fully alien. It carried the blood of another race, a race the king hated above all others. The child was part human. The healers looked at each other, sweat on their faces. They knew the punishment. If the king discovered the truth, they would all die, but no one dared to leave. The princess's cries filled the chamber, soft yet sharp, like a song of sorrow. At last, the child was born, wrapped in a cloth of silver. The baby opened its eyes. They were not the glowing green of aliens, nor the plain dark of humans. They were a strange mix, shining with two worlds inside. The healers gasped. One of them whispered, "It is forbidden." The princess held the child close to her chest. Her eyes were filled with both love and fear. She had broken the oldest law, she had loved a human, and now she held proof of her crime in her arms. Outside the chamber, guards waited. Their ears caught whispers, their eyes sharp with suspicion. Rumors had already begun. The palace servants had seen the human years ago, a man who had walked in shadows, a man who had touched the heart of the princess. Far above the palace, in the throne room of black stone, the alien king sat, his crown burned with blue fire. His voice echoed through the hall as he demanded news of his daughter. "Where is she? Why did the healers hide her from me?" A trembling servant fell to his knees. "My king, the princess. She has given birth." The hall went silent. The king rose from his throne, his golden armor shining like a sun, his eyes narrowed. "Bring the child to me," he ordered. But the healers hesitated. The princess begged them, "Please, let me hold him a little longer." Her voice shook. "He is innocent. He has done nothing wrong." One healer whispered back, "If the king sees, he will kill us all." But it was too late. The king's shadow fell across the chamber. His presence filled the air like poison. The guards entered first, their weapons glowing. Then the king himself, tall and cruel, his eyes burned like fire as they landed on the baby. For a moment, there was silence. Then his face twisted with rage. "What is this creature?" he roared. "This is no child of my blood. This is a stain, a crime, a human curse." The princess cried out, "No, father, he is my son. He is your blood too. Do not harm him." But the king's fury only grew. His voice thundered through the walls. "You dare bring this shame to my throne? You dare lie with a human?" He raised his hand, ready to strike. The healers fell to their knees, begging for mercy. The guards waited for his command. The baby cried softly, unaware of the storm around him. The princess shielded her child with her body. Her eyes burned with defiance. "If you touch him, you must kill me first," she said. The king stopped, his hands still in the air. His rage turned cold. "Very well," he said in a low voice. "I will not kill you, but I will kill them, all of them. The humans will pay for this insult." The hall shook with his declaration. The king's generals were called. The drums of war began to sound across the empire. The skies filled with the roar of alien warships preparing for battle. The princess held her child tighter. Tears fell down her cheeks. She knew what her love had unleashed, a war between worlds, a fire that could burn both humans and aliens. But she whispered into the baby's ear, "I will protect you, no matter what comes. You are the bridge between two worlds. You are hope." Outside, the stars trembled as the first fleets moved. The alien king's voice thundered across the empire. "From this day, there will be no peace. Humanity will pay in blood." And so it began. The forbidden birth had opened the door to war. The news traveled across space like fire in dry grass. One whisper became a thousand became a storm. And soon every leader on Earth heard the terrible truth. The alien king had declared war. In secret meeting rooms deep below Earth's surface, generals and politicians sat in silence. The air was heavy. No one wanted to speak first. On the giant screen, images of alien warships appeared. They were massive, glowing with strange energy. Their weapons could split a mountain. Their engines darkened the skies. One general broke the silence. His voice was low but hard. "We cannot fight them. Their technology is too advanced. If they come, Earth will fall." Another leader slammed his hand on the table. "We cannot surrender either. If we bow now, humanity is finished." The arguments began. Some wanted peace, some wanted war, but none had a clear answer. They all knew one thing. The king's fury was unstoppable. Far away, in a small hidden base, a man sat alone in his quarters. His name was Captain Elias Ward. He was strong but weary. His eyes carried shadows of the past. He had once walked on alien soil. He had once met the princess, and against all laws, against all reason, he had loved her. Now, he knew the truth. The child was his. He sat with his head in his hands. Memories burned in his mind. Her smile, her touch, the secret nights under alien stars. And now, the price of that love was war between two worlds. A knock came at his door. He looked up to see a young soldier. The soldie saluted. "Sir, command wants to see you. It's urgent." In the war room, Captain Elias stood before the council. Their eyes were sharp, some filled with anger, some with fear. One of them spoke. "Captain Ward, you know why we called you. The alien king believes you are the father of the child. Is it true?" The room went silent. Elias felt his chest tighten. He wanted to deny it. He wanted to lie, but his voice betrayed him. "Yes," he said, "the child is mine." The council erupted. Some cursed, some shouted. One man said, "Because of you, billions may die." Another said, "You are a traitor to your own kind." Elias stood firm. His voice rose above theirs. "No, I am not a traitor. That child is not a curse. He is a bridge. He is hope. If we kill him or abandon him, then we are no better than the king." The leaders glared, torn between fear and reason. Finally, the oldest among them spoke. "Captain, you will not be executed, but you will serve. You know the aliens better than anyone. You will lead a mission to find the princess and the child. If we can protect them, perhaps there is a chance." Elias bowed his head. "I will do whatever it takes." Above Earth, the skies trembled. The alien fleets had arrived. Their ships were like floating cities, casting shadows over the oceans. People ran through the streets, pointing at the skies. Fear spread like a sickness. Mothers held their children close. Men looked at the stars and saw only death. The first message came. It was not words. It was a display of power. A single alien warship fired its weapon into the ocean. The sea boiled. Waves rose higher than mountains. Entire coastlines drowned. Millions screamed. The message was clear. The king had no mercy. On Earth's defense stations, alarms rang. Fighter ships scrambled. Soldiers rushed to their posts. But in their hearts, they knew their weapons were small compared to the storm above. Captain Elias prepared for his mission. He wore his uniform, but inside he carried something more. He carried guilt. He carried love. He carried the hope that maybe, just maybe, he could save the child who was both alien and human. Before departure, he looked at the sky, his voice low. "Hold on, my son. Hold on. I am coming." But even as he spoke, danger closed in. On the alien homeworld, the princess was already fleeing, carrying the newborn in her arms. Shadows chased her, soldiers hunted her, and the king's fury burned brighter than ever. Back on Earth, the human fleets rose to meet the alien invaders. The stars lit up with fire. Explosions shook the sky. The war had begun. The council watched the screens, their faces pale. "We cannot win this," one whispered. But Elias stared at the burning horizon, his heart unshaken. "We don't need to win every battle," he muttered. "We just need to protect the child." As the alien armada surrounded Earth, one massive ship moved forward, its weapons charged, its shadow swallowed the night. The world held its breath, waiting for death. Cliffhanger. The alien message finally came. The king's voice thundered across every screen and speaker. "Give me the child, or humanity will be erased." The princess ran through the secret tunnels of the alien palace. Her arms held the newborn close. The baby was small and fragile, but his eyes glowed faintly in the dark. The sound of soldiers echoed behind her. Their boots struck the crystal floor like drums of war. She whispered softly, "Do not cry, my son. They cannot find us." But her voice trembled. She knew the king's reach was long. His wrath could break worlds. The child stirred. His tiny hand reached out, and for a moment the walls around them flickered with strange light. The princess stopped. Her breath caught in her throat. The baby had done it. The child carried power that no one had seen before. Back in the throne room, the alien king stood before his generals. His anger burned like fire. "Find the princess. Find the child. Bring them to me," he roared. "I will show the galaxy what happens to traitors." His generals bowed, but not all of them agreed. Some looked at each other with doubt. They whispered in silence. Could the king be wrong? Could the child be more than a curse? Far away on Earth, Captain Elias sat in the warship Resolute, preparing for his mission. His mind was heavy with memories. He had not seen the princess since that night under alien stars. He never imagined their love would create life, a life now hunted by an empire. His second in command, a young pilot named Sarah, asked him quietly, "Sir, is it true? The child is yours?" Elias nodded. His voice was low. "Yes, and I will protect him, no matter the cost." Sarah looked at him with wide eyes. "If the king wants the child, maybe that child is more important than we understand." Elias stared out at the stars. "He is not just a child, he is a future neither side is ready for." Meanwhile, the princess reached a hidden chamber deep under the palace. The chamber was filled with old carvings, ancient prophecies written by alien priests long ago. One line glowed faintly as she entered. It read, "When two worlds bleed into one, a child shall rise, neither cursed nor pure, but a bridge of destiny." The princess gasped. Her hand shook as she held the child closer. Could it be true? Was her son the one spoken of in the old texts? Before she could think further, the chamber doors shook. The king's guards had found her. Blades of light cut through the metal. Sparks rained down. The princess turned to an old ally, an elder healer who had followed her in secret. The healer's face was lined with sorrow. "You must flee, princess. Take the child and run. I will hid them back." The princess's heart broke. "No, you will be killed." The healer smiled sadly. "Better me than him. The child must live." With tears in her eyes, the princess kissed the healer's hands and ran into the tunnels once more. The baby cried softly, but the sound was drowned by the clash of blades behind her. On Earth, the council watched as alien fleets tightened their grip around the planet. Every day, cities prepared for the worst. Children were sent underground. Families whispered prayers, and in the skies, the warships of mankind looked small compared to the alien giants. Captain Elias received his orders. His mission was clear. Find the princess, find the child, and bring them to safety. But deep inside, he knew this mission was more than war. It was personal. The journey was dangerous. Alien patrols searched the stars. Human ships were hunted like prey. But Elias would not stop. Back in the alien palace, the princess hid in a garden of glowing trees. The leaves shimmered like glass. The air smelled of fire and smoke. She looked at her son. His glowing eyes watched her quietly. There was no fear in them. Only calm, she whispered. "Your father is out there. He will find us. You are not alone." The child reached up, touching her face, and suddenly the garden's lights grew brighter. The trees bent toward the baby as if bowing. The princess gasped. The child's power was growing, but danger was near. From the shadows stepped a tall alien general, his armor black as night, his eyes sharp. He raised his blade but did not strike. Instead, he spoke, "Princess, I do not serve the king blindly. I have seen his cruelty. I believe the child may change everything." The princess stared, unsure. "Why would you help us?" The general lowered his weapon. "Because I have a son too, and I will not see more children die in this war." Before she could answer, the sky above the garden split open. A massive alien ship descended. Its engines shook the ground. Soldiers poured out like shadows. The king himself stood at the front. His voice thundered. "There is no hiding from me, daughter. Give me the child." The princess clutched her son tightly, her heart racing. She knew the moment had come. The child was no longer safe in her arms alone. Cliffhanger. The baby's eyes glowed brighter. A wave of energy burst out, shaking the garden. Soldiers fell to the ground. The king stopped, his eyes wide with shock. For the first time, he saw his grandson's power. The war began not with words, but with fire. Alien warships moved across the stars like dark storms. Their weapons glowed with energy that could burn through steel and stone. The skies of Earth filled with fear as the first strikes came. Cities near the oceans were the first to fall. Entire fleets of human ships rose to defend them, but they were torn apart in minutes. The alien cannons cut through their armor like paper. Flames lit the night, and screams filled the air. From his command deck, Captain Elias watched the battle unfold on screens. His ship, the Resolute, was part of the defense line. Fighters launched from its bays like sparks from fire. But he knew the truth. Humanity was not ready. Their weapons were too small, too weak. His voice was steady, but his heart was heavy. "Keep fighting. Don't give them Earth without a cost." The alien fleets pressed forward. Their formations were perfect, every move calculated. The humans fought with courage, but courage was not enough. In the palace of the alien world, the princess still ran through shadows. The child in her arms cried as the king's soldiers closed in. The energy from the baby's glow had shaken them, but it had also revealed his location. Now the king would not stop until he had the boy. The loyal general who had promised help stayed by her side. His blade cut down the hunters who came too close. His voice calm. "Run, princess. I will hold them." But she shook her head. We run together, or we fall together. Meanwhile, back on Earth, human leaders argued in panic. Some shouted for surrender, others demanded stronger attacks. The council chamber was filled with fear. One voice broke through. If we surrender now, the king will kill us anyway. We must resist. Above their heads, the battles raged on. Human ships burned. Alien ships moved like gods of war. But then, something unexpected happened. A small group of human fighters broke through the enemy line. They struck an alien cruiser, and for the first time, one of the king's ships fell from the sky. Cheers erupted across Earth's defenses. Hope flickered in their hearts. Maybe the aliens were not untouchable, but the hope was short. The king himself appeared on the battlefield. His flagship, the Eternal Wrath, descended from the stars, larger than any ship humans had ever seen. Its weapons charged, its shadow swallowed the earth below. On the alien homeworld, the princess and the loyal general reached the old starport. The princess looked to the skies, her voice weak. If we can reach a ship, we can escape. We must find Elias. He is the only one who can protect the child. The general nodded. But the king will not let you leave. His wrath is endless. At that moment, the child stirred again. His small hand touched the wall of the starport, and the machines around them flickered to life. Engines roared, though no one had touched them. The princess gasped. He is awakening. Back in space, Captain Elias gave orders. His ship dived into the chaos, dodging blasts of alien fire. He knew his mission was not to win battles. His mission was the princess and the child. He whispered to himself, "Hold on, I am coming." But the path was not clear. Alien hunters chased the Resolute. Weapons tore into its shields. The ship shook. Alarms screamed. Damage on the low. "Their decks!" one officer cried. Elias clenched his fists. "Keep moving. We cannot stop now." As the battle raged, betrayal stirred. On Earth, one of the council leaders sent a secret message to the king. "Spare us, and I will tell you where the child is," he wrote. His fear was greater than his loyalty. The king smiled coldly when he received it. His plan was working. Fear was the weapon stronger than any blade. But on the battlefield, something else was rising. Human resistance grew fiercer. Alien defectors whispered in shadows, and the child's power began to shape the fate of both worlds. The princess boarded a small ship with the general's help. Soldiers closed in. Blades clashed. The baby cried again, and light burst from him like a wave. The attackers fell back, blinded. The general shouted, "Go, princess! Fly before it is too late!" The ship's engines roared, lifting into the sky. The princess held her son close, her eyes filled with tears. "We are coming, Elias. Hold on." But above the alien world, the king's flagship moved to intercept. His voice thundered across the skies. "You will not escape me, daughter. That child belongs to me." On Earth, the battle reached its darkest hour. The Eternal Wrath fired its cannon. A single blast lit the heavens. A human city was wiped from the map. Millions gone in seconds. Captain Elias watched in horror, his jaw tight, his heart heavy, yet his voice was steady. "We cannot bow. If we fall fighting." Cliffhanger. In the middle of the chaos, a coded signal reached Elias's ship. The princess's voice, broken but clear. "Elias, I have the child, but the king is hunting us. Please, find us before it is too late." The alien palace no longer glowed with peace. Its golden towers shook with war drums. The alien king stood in his throne room. His voice thundered like a storm. "The princess has betrayed us. She carries the cursed child of a human. She will be hunted, and the humans will be destroyed." His generals bowed, but unease filled their eyes. Some feared him, some doubted him, but none dared to speak. The king's order was clear. "Bring me my grandson. Alive, I will show the galaxy his fate." The princess, hidden among the stars, cradled her child. Her ship was small and weak. It shook as enemy patrols searched nearby. Her ally, the loyal general, sat beside her at the controls, his voice calm but firm. "We cannot keep running forever, princess. Sooner or later, he will find us." The princess looked at her son. His strange glowing eyes stared back at her. "He is not a curse," she whispered. "He is hope, but the king will never see it." Far away, Captain Elias and his crew flew through broken battlefields. The Resolute was damaged but still alive. Wreckage of human ships floated in the void. Fires burned in the distance where cities had once stood. Elias stood before his officers, his voice steady though his heart bled. "We have lost much, but we cannot stop. The princess is out there. The child is out there. If we find them, maybe we can still turn this war." Sarah, his second in command, looked at him. "Sir, the council is breaking. Some leaders already whisper of surrender." Elias clenched his fists. "Surrender is death. If they give the child to the king, humanity will never rise again. Back in the alien throne room, the king received a secret visitor, a council leader from Earth. The man had crossed the stars, kneeling at the king's feet. His voice shook. "Great king, spare my people. I will give you what you want. The princess, the child, the human father, I wed. I'll betray them all." The king smiled cruelly. "You value your own skin over your kind. Good. You will serve me." The traitor bowed, his eyes filled with shame. Yet in his heart, he told himself it was survival. He did not see that he had sold more than his people. He had sold his soul. Meanwhile, the princess's ship drifted into a dead zone of space, a graveyard of old battles. Broken alien ships floated silently. Their shadows hid her from hunters. The loyal general whispered, "We can rest here for a while." The princess rocked her child gently. The baby's light dimmed as he slept. For a moment, there was peace, but peace never lasted. The ship shook, alarms screamed, a massive shadow covered them. An alien destroyer had found them, its cannons charged, its voice broadcast across the void. "Princess, surrender the child, or die." The princess held her son close. Her heart raced. The general looked at her. "We cannot fight them, but maybe someone can." He sent a coded signal into the stars. A desperate message. "Captain Elias, if you hear this, the princess is in danger." On the Resolute, the message arrived. Elias froze as he heard the words. His chest tightened, his voice turned sharp. "Set course immediately. Full speed, no matter the cost." The crew obeyed. The Resolute burned through the stars. Its engines roared like thunder, but time was running out. The alien destroyer locked weapons. The princess closed her eyes, whispering to her son, "If I fall, may your father find you." Suddenly, the baby opened his eyes. The glow returned, brighter than ever. The ship's systems flickered, lights burst alive. The engines powered themselves. The baby's tiny hands stretched toward the void. And the alien destroyer shook violently. Its cannons misfired. Energy cracked across its hull. The soldiers inside screamed as controls failed. The princess gasped. "He is saving us." But the child's power drained him. His glow dimmed again. His small body went limp. The princess's heart raced with fear. "No, stay with me, please." The destroyer, though wounded, still stood. Its captain snarled, "Fire again, end them." At that moment, the Resolute arrived, cannons blazing, missiles cutting through the void. The alien destroyer shuddered under the assault. Elias's voice roared, "Stay away from my son!" The battle was fierce. The Resolute took heavy fire. Its shield screamed, metal tore, but Elias would not back down. With a final strike, the destroyer exploded in a storm of fire. The void lit like a second sun. The princess's ship spun, damaged, but alive. The Resolute locked on with tractor beams, pulling them to safety. At last, Elias stepped aboard. His eyes met hers. For a moment, there were no words, only the sound of the child breathing between them. Elias touched the baby's cheek. His voice broke. "My son." The princess wept. "He is yours, but he is also hunted. If the king finds him, he will spill rivers of blood." Elias looked at her, his jaw hard. "Then we will spill our own before we give him up." But in the shadows of the stars, the king's flagship moved. The traitor from Earth stood by his side, pointing at a map. "They are here, my king. Your enemies hide there." The king's eyes burned with fire. "Then let them hide. I will bring war to their doorstep. I will tear hope from their hands." Cliffhanger. The stars shifted as the king's armada prepared to strike. The princess held the baby close. Elias readied his crew. And far away, the drums of war grew louder. The price of blood was only beginning. The war spread across the stars like fire on dry grass. Human worlds burned, alien fleets clashed, and both sides bled. For weeks, Earth's soldiers fought only to survive, not to win. But everything began to change when whispers spread of defectors. Not all aliens followed the king blindly. Some generals and soldiers, sick of his cruelty, turned their eyes toward hope. They saw, too. He child as more than a curse. They saw him as a bridge. Captain Elias stood in the command deck of the Resolute, the princess beside him, the child in her arms. His crew had grown weary, but in their eyes, there was light. News had reached them. Alien rebels wished to meet. Elias's second-in-command, Sarah, looked at him with doubt. "Sir, it could be a trap." Elias nodded. "It could be, but if there's even a chance, we must take it. We cannot win alone." The meeting place was an abandoned moon. Its surface was cracked, its air thin. Old wrecks from forgotten wars lay silent on the ground. The Resolute landed carefully, its guns ready. From the shadows, alien ships appeared, their symbols covered, their weapons lowered. A tall alien general stepped forward, the same man who had once helped the princess escape, his voice carried across the dust. "We do not kneel to the king, we fight with you." The princess held her son close. "Then we are not alone," she whispered. Together they formed a plan. The rebels would bring stolen alien weapons, humans would bring courage and numbers. Their target would be one of the king's supply stations, a fortress in space that fed his armies. If it fell, the war would turn. The attack came at dawn of the third cycle. Human and rebel ships flew together for the first time. The king's fortress hung in orbit like a beast of metal, its guns ready, its shields strong. The battle began with fire. Human fighters dived between alien cannons, rebel cruisers tore into enemy lines. The fortress trembled under the assault. Alarms blared across the void. From the Resolute, Elias gave orders, his voice calm but sharp. "Target their supply lines, cut their fuel, do not let their reinforcements through." The fortress returned fire, blasting ships apart. Explosions lit the sky. For every alien ship that fell, a human fighter was lost. For every gain, there was pain. But then, for the first time, the king's forces began to falter. His soldiers were not as united as before. Some broke ranks, some fled, and others, inspired by the rebels, refused to fight. The princess watched from the deck, her son in her arms. His small eyes glowed faintly. As the battle raged, the child reached out again. His tiny fingers touched the glass window, and suddenly, the Resolute's failing shields flared brighter. The crew gasped, "Our shields are back at full power." Elias stared at his son, his heart pounding. "He is protecting us." The child's power spread like light across the fleet. Rebel ships held longer. Human ships struck harder. The balance shifted. By the end of the battle, the king's fortress was in flames. It broke apart in the void, exploding into dust. The rebels and humans cheered together. For the first time, the war felt winnable. But victory came at a cost. Thousands of lives lost, and the king's wrath burned hotter than ever. In his throne room, his fist slammed against the arm of his seat. "Traitors, rebels, they will all die." His voice shook the walls. His eyes glowed with fury. He turned to his advisors. "Prepare the eternal wrath. I will lead the next battle myself. I will show them my power. I will take the child with my own hands." Back on the Resolute, the crew celebrated their first true victory. But Elias stood apart, his eyes heavy. He knew the war was far from over. He knew the king would come, stronger, darker. The princess joined him. Her hand touched his shoulder, her voice soft. "We gave them hope. Today. But tomorrow, the king will strike harder." Elias looked at her and at their son, who slept peacefully despite the chaos. "Then we must be ready. Hope alone will not save us. We must be stronger than ever." But the peace of that moment broke when a warning flashed across their screens. A massive energy surge appeared in the distance, a fleet unlike any they had seen before. The king's flagship, Eternal Wrath, arrived. Its size dwarfed all others. Its weapons glowed like suns. Its very presence spread terror. The rebels whispered in fear. The humans fell silent. On every screen, the king's face appeared, his eyes like burning coals. His voice thundered across the fleet. "You think you can resist me? You think your weak alliance matters? I am the king, and I will tear your hope apart. The child is mine. Humanity will kneel." The eternal wrath raised its cannons. The stars shook as they charged. The fleet of rebels and humans braced for death. Cliffhanger. The child's eyes snapped open, glowing brighter than ever. His small voice whispered a word no one understood, and the very space around the eternal wrath began to tremble. The stars burned with fire. The war had reached its end. Across the galaxy, billions watched in silence. All eyes turned to the final battle. The fleet of humans and alien rebels faced the king's armada, and at its heart stood the king's flagship, the Eternal Wrath. It was more than a ship. It was a moving fortress. Its weapons glowed like suns. Its shadow covered the stars. Against it, the rebel fleet looked small, but their hearts were strong. On the Resolute, Captain Elias stood tall, his eyes sharp, his jaw set. Behind him, the princess held their son. The child's glowing eyes stared into the void, calm yet powerful. Elias gave his crew one command, his voice steady. "This is it. We fight for more than Earth. We fight for a future. Where humans and aliens are not enemies, we fight for the child, hold nothing back." The fleet roared forward, cannons lit the skies, missiles streaked across space. The clash shook the heavens, ships exploded, flames blooming like dying stars. The rebels fought with fury, the humans with courage, but the eternal wrath cut through them like a blade. The king's voice thundered across all channels. Pathetic. You think you can resist me? You think you can win? I am eternal. My bloodline rules the stars. The child is mine, and with his power I will rule forever. The Resolute dived through enemy fire, dodging blasts that could split a moon. Its shields cracked, sparks rained across the deck. Officers shouted, "Hull breach on lower decks, shields failing." Elias shouted back, "Hold together, push forward." Beside him, Sarah cried out, "Sir, we cannot break the Eternal Wrath's shields. They are too strong." The princess looked at her son, her voice trembling. "He can, he must." The child's glow spread, his small hand stretched toward the void. Suddenly, the Resolute's weapons surged with new energy. Cannons fired brighter, striking harder. Alien ships shattered under their blasts. The crew stared in awe, but the king only laughed. His ship's shields flared. "Yes, child, show me your power, for it will be mine soon." The king activated a weapon hidden deep inside the Eternal Wrath. A beam of dark energy spread across the battlefield. Ships caught in it dissolved into dust. Hope seemed to die. The rebels panicked. "We cannot win. His weapon is unstoppable." Elias turned, his eyes on his son. "No, we can, but only together." The princess knelt with the child, whispering softly, "You are not alone. We are with you, your father, your mother, your people, all of them." The baby's glow grew brighter, filling the deck with light. For a moment, everyone felt it. Hope, warmth, unity. The glow spread from ship to ship. Shields restored, weapons charged, broken systems healed. The rebel fleet rallied, human ships pushed forward. Together they struck the king's forces. For the first time, the Eternal Wrath shook under fire. The king roared with rage. "No, he is mine." He left his throne, stepping into the battle chamber. His armor gleamed, his blade burned with fire. He would take the child himself. He launched aboard a shuttle, crashing into the Resolute. Alarms screamed as his soldiers stormed the decks. The clash turned personal. Humans and rebels fought hand to hand against the king's elite guard. In the command hall, the doors burst open. The king himself stepped through. His eyes burned with hate, his blade raised high. "Daughter, human, the child is mine." Elias raised his rifle, firing, but the king's blade cut through the blasts like water. The princess stood firm, holding her son. "You will not take him, father." The king roared, charging. His blade swung. Elias blocked with his rifle. The weapon shattered. Sparks flew. Elias fell to his knees. The king raised his blade for the kill, but before he could strike, the child's glow exploded. A wave of light filled the hall. Everyone froze. The king staggered, his eyes wide. For the first time, he felt fear. The child floated gently in the air. His small voice whispered, "No more war." The king screamed, trying to strike, but his blade melted in the light. His armor cracked, his body shook. The power of the child was not death, it was unity. The king's soldiers dropped their weapons. Rebels and humans stopped fighting. The light wrapped around all of them. The king fell to his knees, his rage broken, his voice weak. "Impossible. I am the king. I cannot fall." The princess held out her hand, her voice steady. "This is not your end, father. It is your choice. You can accept peace, or you can be forgotten." But the king's pride was too strong. He screamed one last time, and the light consumed him. When it faded, nothing of him remained but silence. The battle was over. The Eternal Wrath crumbled. The alien fleet surrendered. Rebels and humans together raised their voices in victory. On the deck of the Resolute, Elias and the princess stood side by side, their son in their arms. The child's eyes no longer glowed with danger, but with peace. Elias whispered, "He saved us all." The princess kissed her son's forehead. "He is not a curse. He is the bridge between worlds." And so, the war ended, not with destruction, but with a child who carried the hope of two races, a child who proved that even in the darkest war, there could be light.